Hi guys, Jo from the Wangaratta Vet Clinic here. Today I wanted to talk to you about pregnancy and pets. So a lot of people when they fall pregnant become a bit worried about what's going to happen when they introduce a baby into a household where there may have been a dog or cat or both living quite happily baby free for several years. Now the good news is generally the transition's really smooth, but there are a few things that you can do to help with that, and that's what I wanted to share with you today. So while you are pregnant, you need to be really careful of a particular parasite that we can pick up from cats, and that is called toxoplasmosis. Now, it can cause some pretty nasty problems in pregnancy, so be really wary of it. The best way to minimise the chance of picking it up is to have somebody else in the household change the kitty litter for you. If it does need to be you as the pregnant person that does it, then make sure you wear gloves and wash your hands really thoroughly once you've taken those gloves off. Just with soap and water is fine. It's found in cat poo, so also be really careful if you're gardening in areas where your cat might go to the toilet as well. And again, just hygiene's a really critical one there. Wash your hands and with soap and water as soon as you're finished in any of those areas. Beyond that, when you're pregnant, you're often going to be bringing some new furniture and items into the house as well. So things like your pram, change table, cot, bassinet, those types of things. Really good if you can get your pets used to those things before the baby arrives, as it's one less change for them. So have them set up, and you might just have access for the animals there that they can just move around them, and everything's as normal just with these new bits of furniture there. You may also want to give a few treats, get your dogs to sit and drop and things like that around those new items too. Also a good time when you're bringing those into if you're going to have them in areas where you don't want your pets to go. So for example, you might have a change table and cot in a bedroom and you don't want the pets to go in there. So now's a good time to start training them that room's nothing interesting in there, not somewhere where they need to go. One thing that we did, which worked really well for our first baby, was we actually put one of the external security doors that you can get, just the the diamond-shaped pattern ones. We didn't have any fly screen on it, but we mounted that in the door frame of the bedroom, and that meant we could have that shut and we could hear anything if the baby cried, and we could get the heating and the air conditioning in there, but the dogs and cats couldn't get in while that was shut. So that was certainly gave us a lot of peace of mind with baby number one. We didn't worry about it. We'd moved house for our next kids, and not because we loved them any less, but it just wasn't something that we were really worried about at that stage, and we didn't feel we needed it. But certainly for that first one, it was really nice having that on there. Though I must admit, there was at least one occasion where we accidentally locked the cat inside the bedroom, but no baby in there at that point. The other things that is a good thing to be training at this time is all the behaviours that you want to see. So you don't want them jumping up on you while you're carrying a baby. You don't want them jumping up on the pram. You don't want them jumping up on the baby change table while the baby's there. All those sorts of things. So now's a really good time to really make sure that's pretty solid. That also, when we're walking, that they're walking nicely beside us, loose lead. They're not dragging us along. They're not dragging behind. Because when you're out there with pram and baby as well, juggling pram with a dog that's trying to pull your arm out of its socket, it's not much fun. And we'll sometimes see prams actually get pulled over from dogs that are sort of running away full pelt. So we don't want to see that. Once you do have the baby, we want to make the introduction into the household as positive as possible for your pets as well as for your baby, of course. They're probably going to be largely oblivious to it. But lots of treats and pats and just a nice relaxed thing. It's not a big deal. Here's this new thing. Isn't it a good thing where we're going to have our dog sitting. We might give them quite a lot of treats while the baby first comes in. Make sure still that you've got time for your pets. So our babies do take up a lot of time. But it's really nice to know that you have got even just a few minutes here or there on top of a daily walk. Walking's great, obviously, for your dog, but also for you and the baby. And then beyond that, a few minutes, a couple of times a day, if you can, of something that your pet's really likes. That might be tossing the ball or a stick, or might be just chilling on the couch and having a bit of a pat. So. Also, never ever leave your kids unsupervised with your pets. So even the best family dog in the world, if they're startled suddenly by, particularly in our toddlers, pulling on an ear or a tail or a lip, they can accidentally snap and cause a lot of damage there. We had a pretty close call with our eldest when he was about 2.5. He approached our dog who was asleep on our deck, and just scared her. He sort of just touched her back end, and she spun around with teeth bared and fortunately saw him and realised and stopped. But I was running towards him yelling out, and I wasn't very far away, but just a few metres, and there was still no way I was getting there in time. So that was a real wake-up call for just how quickly that can happen. So never ever leave them together without you being in the room with them. Pets can be really fantastic companions for our kids as well as for us grown-ups, and they can be really handy for teaching things like care and responsibility and that sort of thing. A few things you want to do as your child gets a bit older, and that's teach them to be really gentle with your pets. Teach them not to share their food with their pets. Also try and teach your pets not to lick their faces, which is a favourite of them from what I can see. Also when to not approach the pets. So for example, if they're asleep, we want to teach our kids not to go near them, just let them be asleep and uninterrupted. And then in terms of responsibilities, certainly as they get a bit older, they can start helping with the care of the pets. So feeding, watering, those kinds of things, taking them for walks. Our kids always love feeding their cats, I think largely because there'd be plenty of food put in the bowl for the cats and then a few dry pellets into the mouth as well. But that was one that they got involved on very early on. Other things you want to do is keep your pets parasite free. So keep them regularly wormed, at least sort of every 3 months, and make sure there's no fleas. So whatever preventative you want to use, I'd be keeping that up to date for your pet as well. Cover sand pits when they're not in use, again, so that your cat or neighbours' cats aren't coming in and using it as a toilet. Clean up any dog poo from the yard regularly as well, and hygiene. So as with everything, anytime anyone's been handling the pets, make sure everybody's hands get washed really well with soap and water. And look, if you are expecting a baby, congratulations. That's a really exciting time. And please don't hesitate to contact us if you've got any concerns at all about the introduction of a baby into your household. Thanks.